Sanam aloha, everybody. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me clearly. I'm going to get this here. Okay. Sanam aloha, everybody. Can you hear me? Sanam aloha. Okay. Looks good. Okay, so how is everybody doing? Let me know in the chat, and you can put down your human design type if you know it, in your profile if you know it, and your astrology information if you feel called to. Okay, let me just see here with the comments so I can see the comments. Okay, I don't see any comments yet. If you could put something down here that you can see me, that you can hear me clearly. Okay. So as you know, yay, Sacred Journey. Thank you, Sacred Journey. So I'm feeling a lot better today. I usually have my live streams on Fridays, but I do have the gate of extremes, the 15th gate, which means I got to mix up my routines once in a while. So I feel like that was part of it. And then doing my own shadow work. So if we got here, let me just see here. So we're talking about the new moon. So that's next Friday, November 1st. And we are officially in Scorpio season now. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the new moon you can see here is in the 44th gate. The 44th gate, right there. And it's activating. It's activating a whole channel. So this is the exact time of the new moon, the transit chart, the human design transit chart for this new moon on November 1st. And of course, the new moon is in Scorpio. So it's activating the willpower center. And if you're a human design nerd, I never use ego for this. This is willpower to me because I approach human design from a spiritual perspective. So this is the willpower center, and the ego is part of the mind, the apparatus of the mind. And then this is the spleen. So this is the channel of surrender, which I'll go into. But let's talk about Scorpio first. To get an understanding of how we're being supported during Scorpio season is, let me get here. So these are the Scorpionic gates, the Scorpio gates here. So we've got the 43, and that's the ajna, that's the personal mind. We've got one off the self, the G center, right? And then we've got 3 off the spleen. And then 1 off the sacral, and none, willpower, no emotion, and no root. Okay? So right away we've got individual. So whenever you see them in the center, these are individual. See? So the 43 is an individual gate. First is an individual gate. 14 is an individual gate. And then the 28 is an individual gate. And then both of these are tribal. Okay? So the 43, these are the shadows and the emotions for the Scorpio. So you get a kind of an understanding of Scorpio from a human design perspective. So the 43 is fear of rejection. So if you have this natally, you understand this. The first, angry, the first gate here, angry at not being seen as different or creative. Angry about that. So the anger can come across as depression or melancholy. So I'm good. The 3 primal emotions that I work with are fear, anger, and grief. Everything comes from everything. Those are the roots. Everything comes off those 3 primal emotions, right? So anger turned inward is depression. Then the 44 right here, and this is the one we're talking about for this new moon, the fear of the past catching up with you, right? And we're seeing this out in the world because Scorpio deals with taboo and sex and the things that are hidden and covered up. And we're seeing that coming out. The past is coming forward for people with these sex scandals that are coming. And more, we're going to see more and more during the Scorpio season. And as Pluto, right, the ruling planet of Scorpio, the modern ruler is Pluto, and then Mars too rules Scorpio. So Pluto is about getting to the truth, right? And Pluto's in Capricorn until November 19th. So we're going to see lots more uncovering, right? So fear of the past is coming forward for people, right? So this could be like a fear of your life is stagnant, right? Nothing's changing. I'm just caught in this loop like Groundhog Day. That's the 44. And then the 14 is angry about having to work or not working, the 14. 50 is the fear of responsibility, taking on too much responsibility. And then the 28 is fear of death. So it's interesting when you get to the 28, right? With the 28, that's like around, the fear of death or the shadow. That's what I want to say is the shadow. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to check something. Okay. So that's Scorpio. So in terms of Scorpio, Scorpio deals with fear. Right? It deals with fear, and it's about transformation. So it's about transcending fear. So if you have any scorpionic, you have a Scorpio, it doesn't matter if you don't have any planets in Scorpio, but you have a house, right, that's ruled by Scorpio. So if you look at the whole sign system, if you know your house, that's going to be a place where you're going to see a lot of transformation in your life, right? Scorpio brings huge transformation, and it brings this transcendence of fear. Transcendence of fear. What else did I want to talk about this? So Scorpio wants to get to the truth, right? So the shadow Scorpio is like keeps everything a secret, it keeps things hidden, doesn't bring things out into the light. Vengeful, resentful, manipulative. Those are the shadow frequency of Scorpio. But you want to move it into the higher frequency of Scorpio, which is the phoenix, right? That's a scorpionic symbol. And we're entering into the cross of the sleeping phoenix these next 400 years, right? So this is rising from the ashes. This is about transcending your fears, for this new moon cycle, or just this whole scorpionic season. I would be working on this. I'd be working on uncovering these shadows, right? These deep shadows, and especially the negative emotions, right? These negative emotions like jealousy and envy and possessiveness and things like that. All those greebly stuff you want to bring up because it's going to follow you. So the 44, we go back here, the 44, because that's what the star of the show here for the new moon cycle. The 44 is the shadow of interference. It's the shadow of interference. I'm not good at spelling here. For some reason, I'm a really good speller, but when I'm on these live streams, I'm not so good at left brain activity. Okay, so interference. So this is the 44, right? So we're really talking, I want to talk about this frequency. So interference. And I may rename my live stream, I don't know. I'll see what comes out in this next hour or so, but a few things were coming to me in preparation, like preparing the slides. So the 44 is about interference, okay? So we're talking about frequency. So if we go back, just a reminder that the evolution, this is the evolutionary pathway of awareness that we're on. Hoping everybody can see that okay, yeah. Right, so we're moving from the physical to the mental. That's the mind. So the physical body, the mental body, through the emotional body, and then we get to frequency. So this is the solar plexus mutation, right? This is what the solar plexus mutation or the the self-sensory system. If you're a Kundalini yogi, we're getting here to frequency and vibrational. This is what we have to start to embrace as this new awareness system comes online, because right now we're in the mental. We're experiencing life through the mind, right? So we have to travel down these planes of awareness, right? So this is how we're experiencing life at this time, right? The physical, the mental, and then the emotional. And then we get to frequency, and you can see why inner child work is so important. And I just noticed this too, like with astrology, you've got your MC and then you've got your IC, and that's the fourth house. That's the fourth house, and it's also inner child. It stands for inner child. So this is where all the work is to be done right now, is inner child. That's why I'm such a huge advocate for inner child work. It's really, really changed me in so many ways, and other people that I know and that I've worked with. This is the key right here. So there's no avoiding it. There's no avoiding this, because there's a lot of wisdom here that the mind, just like, oh, you're emotional, right? There's a stigma to it, like this emotionality, and it's a stigma around the feminine too, right? This emotionality, oh, you're hysterical, you're stupid or whatever, right? You can't control your emotions, but nobody's going to be able to control their emotions, because this is getting triggered by the solar plexus mutation. We have to go through this. You can't leapfrog from the mental into the frequency. You have to get to the emotional. You can fool yourself and think you're in frequency because you're talking a good talk about frequency, but it's not real. You have to have a direct experience of your own frequency, your vibration. So this is key, right, to do this work. So we have to travel down this plane of awareness, right? And what we're getting to is this is what animates the body. This frequency animates the body. It's our divinity, our soul, and we must surrender. Surrender is a big word right now. So everything that's not aligned with your frequency is being thrown off. This is the great purge, and that's another word for Scorpio, is purge. It's purging off not self, right? So some think that Scorpio is all about destruction, right? Scorpio just destroys, and it doesn't. It destroys, yes, but then it recreates. It's a rebirth that happens, right? So it's like you're doing this purge, but you can never purge what you truly are, which is your frequency. You can never purge that. But it can get distorted. So this is where we're heading into, right? Into this deep, deep experience of and I love this picture of the vortex, because that's what it is. It's like a vortex, the solar plexus mutation. It's like a vortex that you have to get in touch with in this lifetime. So if we go back to the 44 with the shadow of, we'll go back to here, the shadow of interference, well, your frequency is being interfered with, right? So let's look at it from the internal, because yes, our frequency is being interfered with by outside forces. That's like EMF, right? There's like a frequency warfare happening right now on the planet, right? So we've got that. But how you deal with this is it's all about an internal process. So you want to go back inside and you want to know what your frequency is. What's my frequency? This is your authenticity that I talk about. It's your just to know your frequency, right? So it's an internal thing. So your frequency is distorted. And how does it get distorted? Well, it starts in childhood. Your frequency starts to get distorted right here in childhood. And these are when the emotional body, this is a whole other body. You've got your physical body, your mental body, you've got your emotional body, gets blocked. This is childhood trauma, right? At the frequency level, So the thing with emotional work is you can't because the mind will try to step in and it's, well, I need the proof, I need the evidence. But you have to remember, as a child, your rational mind hasn't kicked in, right? The mental body hasn't started developing until after like 9 years old. 9 years old, that comes online, your mental body. So all your memories, and it's interesting too that the 44 rules memory. It's about water, right? So it's about memory, and your memories are stored here in the emotional body. So there's the frequency, your authentic frequency trying to move, right? It's trying to move up to and then manifest through the physical, right? Through the physical, through your mind, right? Through the mind. But there it gets distorted here. The emotional gets distorted there. So this is interference. So if you look at yourself like a radio, if you're like a radio, right? And you know what maybe you had, I don't know, in the radio in your car and it's not quite on the right signal, it gets distorted, right? So this is what you're sending out into the world, is this distortion, which isn't you. It's really coming from your wounded self, which I'm just putting in the form of of a little child, your little inner child. But right, it's a distortion frequency, and you're sending it out, right? You're sending it out, and what comes back to you, because whatever you send out, you receive back. Well, it's going to be aligned with this distortion. So this is why we attract people in our life that bring us back to this state, bring us back to our inner child, our wounded inner child, so that this can start to heal. And we don't heal this with the mind. You cannot heal this with the mind. You actually have to go deep into the emotional body, right, to do this work, to bring your frequency back. And the great thing is you can never lose it. You can never lose your authentic self, right? So this is what the 44 is about, is also the coming to meet, right? Coming to meet. So these are these karmic people that you attract into your life, right? And they bring up this same wounding. So the new moon is showing us that this is work to be done, is to really get our frequency back on track. So that's back to my online retreat, right? This is the kind of work that we do. You have a deep experience and an understanding through your chart of what your frequency is, but you have an experience, number one. But for you guys that are here and that maybe you're not interested in the online retreat, what you can do is you need to learn the lesson. You need to learn the lesson. So this new moon, it's like, okay, again, it's about looking at our relationships. 2024 is all about the relationships because of that Aries Libra South Node, North Node, right? That we're in. That's not going to end until late January next year. So we're still in these relationship lessons. So you want to look at the distorted frequency. You want to learn the lesson. And if you really want to learn the lesson and really let it go and transcend it, like Scorpio wants you to, then you need to go to your inner child, because that's the root of it all. But if you want to, if I'm not ready to go in the deep end yet, Michael, I'm not ready for that work yet, then you want to learn the lesson of your relationships. Else, when you're in the shadow of interference, you keep repeating the same lessons over and over and over and over again. It's different people, right? Different body, different name, but it's the same lesson over and over and over again. So it could be like self-worth issues, right? It could be like codependency stuff, whatever it is. You'll know what it is. It's going to be a repeating pattern. So that's how you want to, that's one way of stepping out of this distorted frequency. So you stop repeating, bringing these people in, because your instincts are off. The 44 is about having instincts for the right people that are meant for you, right? This is the fractal line, or our soul tribe, the fractal line that we're all on. Remember, there's 144,000 templates. And you belong on one of those 144,000 templates. And you'll know, like even maybe you're on my fractal line and you'll know by the sound of my voice, do you feel comfortable listening to me? Or do I piss you off, or you want to run away, right? Well, then I'm probably not on your fractal line then, or maybe your ego's got you, I don't know. But you're going to feel like a comfortability with the people that are on your fractal line. It's like your vehicle can relax in their presence. If you're with somebody that's not on your fractal line, which often happens in relationships, that's typical because people are so not themselves on this planet, then you're always going to feel a little bit on edge, right? A little bit anxious, can't quite relax. That's a good sign they're not on your fractal line. But if you feel at home with that person, and I just feel really just relaxed, doesn't mean you don't have disagreements and conflict, but you just feel relaxed in their presence, right? That's a good sign that they're on your fractal line. But until then, as long as you're in this distorted frequency, which means you're being not self, right? You're never going to attract people. You won't attract people on your fractal, because how can you? This is your frequency. It's distorted. It's going to bring distortion back, right? Okay, back to here. So just a little bit here on this channel, the channel of surrender. It's the design of the transmitter. Isn't it interesting? It's a transmitter. So this is tribal, the 2644. It's tribal and it's projected. It's a projected channel. So that means that it takes on some of the qualities of a projector, meaning that it needs to be recognized, has to wait to be invited. And what do I want to say about this? There's so many ways I could go. I just want to keep my focus here. Is in terms of a collective, what we could see out in the collective is somebody trying to sell us something. The 2644 is all about selling you something. It's selling something to the tribe, and it's new and improved. So we may be seeing this in the new moon cycle, which may or may not be correct for us, right? This is the new improved. We have something new improved. We got this new monetary system that we're going to roll out. Like something like that could happen, right? So you always want to go back to your strategy and authority, because the 26, this is the trickster. It's the manipulator. It's a manipulator. It's a liar, the 26. And this is lying and fooling the tribe to buy something. It's creative. It's the only tribal creative channel, right? And the tribe doesn't care about art, right? It doesn't care about art or anything. It's about function. So it's like if you're a painter, then the tribe wants you to paint signs. You know what I mean? Or create billboards, things like that. They're not interested in art. It's like, how can we improve the tribe? It's that kind of thing. And then if it's collective art, right? Collective art, then it's going to be more patron, right? The collective artist is more, I don't really care about money, but as long as I'm supported in doing my art, then that would be a patron, right? A patron is supporting me. And then if you're individual, you don't care. If you're an individual artist, if you got this first line, you don't care. You can be outside. You can be outside of the world and you're just creating. You don't care about money whatsoever, right? So those are the three different types of creativity. But the 2644, in terms of their creativity, is they need to be in the world and they need to be rewarded for what they bring, right? So it's all about destroying something, and then making something out of that. It's like, it's never just new. It's making something new out of the old, this channel. So just be on the lookout for that if we see that out in the collective. Okay, so, and then if we look at the decan, right? For Scorpio here, 44.3, it's the Five of Cups. It's the Five of Cups in terms of tarot. So this is, like you can see by his posture, it's disappointment. So in terms of your relationships, like disappointment, maybe going through a loss, or you've gone through a loss in your relationships. Someone that you trusted, right, betrayed you, something like that. It's like it's a loss. And you're looking at those three empty cups, right? The three empty cups. And if we look at this too, Scorpio is death. That's the major arcana card. And then it's the Tower, right? So this is saying that a Tower moment happened for the new moon that's coming up. A Tower moment has happened in the past, right? And now it's time to transmute with the Death card. It's an ending, but it's also a beginning, right? So you can't begin something until you end something. So huge transformation with the Death card, right? This is what Scorpio, the Scorpiona card, is death. So it's about moving on, right? But you don't want to move on until you do this, right? You want to learn the lesson. What was the lesson in that relationship, right? Where I felt this disappointment, right? And remember that man or woman's rejection is God's protection. It's divine protection when you reject it like this, because you're being pushed. You're being pushed on your soul's destiny, right? So to remember that, but you want to get the lesson so you don't repeat the lesson over and over and over and over again, so you can get out of this loop that you're in. You can get out of this interference program, and then move into like the gift is like teamwork, which is just about being with your soul tribe right here. Okay. So let me look at some comments, and then we'll see if anything comes up here. Thank you for liking the video, everybody. I want to remember to remind people to do that. Okay. We got some projectors from Australia. New to the channel. Okay. So if you're a human design nerd and geek and you're new to my channel, just remember that I operate from a spiritual perspective. And what does that mean? It's like never give your power over to a system. Never give your power over to astrology, human design, the Enneagram, whatever you're studying. Never, ever give your power over to it. So yeah, you're a projector, a reflector, MG or G, or a manifestor. That's just your type, but it's not who you are. You're much bigger and larger than that. You were born before human design came on the scene. You're older than astrology. So you have to remember that. And you may think, well, what are you doing this for then? Well, I'm teaching you how to operate through time and space. This is your avatar, right? You've got your body and your design, and this is how you best move through the world. Because we have to participate in the Maya. We can't just sit here and watch. That's kind of boring, right? So that's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm coming from. Just so you know that. Okay. Enoch. Okay. MG Chaser, twin flame. Scorpio in the 12th house. Oh. So you're Sagittarius rising. 29 degrees. That's a critical degree. If you have any planets in the 29th degree, especially Scorpio, then that means you're finishing up a major cycle in this lifetime. Okay. Okay, so people are, Scorpionic. So Leanne, if you got Scorpio in the 11th house, then your friends are going to come and go, right? Because Scorpio it's transformative. It's transformative. Pluto and Scorpio. Okay. Right on. So you can relate to that, Michael? Manifestor with the 44, especially if you got that natally. It rules smell. That's why if you're dating somebody and you're like getting serious and it's like, oh, okay, I'm sniffing this, like sniffing this person out. There's a reason why the dogs sniff each other out. We've got to start doing that, sniffing each other out. And the first thing you got to do is take a bath together, right? And that's so that you can really smell them. You can smell that other person. They're not covered in perfume and oils and things like that, because then that your instincts are off. The thing is, you know who belongs in your life and who doesn't, but you've got this distortion, this distorted frequency. So you're kind of crippled in a sense, right? So that's a good thing to do because it rules smell. It's that smell, right? It's not like I'm going to smell that person and they smell nice. It's like the smell is letting you know, oh, they're on my fractal. I have a soul's destiny with this person. It's not about paying off a bunch of karma for my ancestors. That's why somebody on one fractal gets together with another person on another fractal, because it's a clearinghouse. You're doing all this ancestral work, right? Clearing off all your ancestors' karma with this other person, right? And they're doing the same. You want to be on the same fractal line, and then you're not focused on paying off karma for your ancestors. You're focused on soul purpose, moving forward on your soul purpose. Okay. Yeah, Leanne's like, I'm going through some deep work right now and I've been emotional, but it's very cleansing and eye-opening. Yeah, where the shadows come from. And Leanne, we're being so supported right now with the Scorpio energy. And then this Pluto-Mars opposition. Okay. Sacred Journey says, I feel like I'm on your fractal line. Wagyu, that's great. Okay. Yeah. This is not, I remember talking to somebody here on the island and I was just telling him, it's like, this is not a time to rush into relationships. You want to you don't want to be going down dead end roads. We don't have time to go down dead end roads with relationships anymore. It's like you want to get really, really clear. And remember, it's the age of Aquarius, so it's built on friendship. Aquarius rules friendship. So you want to have a strong foundation in your relationships. This is the time to do that. And you want to make sure they're on your fractal line and that you are, you've got the same vision. This is where I want to go. Where I want to go is to awaken, to realize the self in this lifetime. You want to be with somebody that loves their soul more than their ego. Right there. Okay. Yeah, college and babe, that's like, yeah, one of my best friends. And the thing, my best male friend smells bad to me. And it's not necessarily about hygiene. It's just their smell. No, they're not for me, right? It's your body. You got to trust your body. Your body's letting you know. Okay, that's great. There's some other things I wanted to say, but I think I'll keep moving forward here with these readings. Okay. So much to say. There's such a rich system. Rich system. Okay. So let's start off some readings here, and we'll start off with the twin flames. Where's my overlays? Okay, there's the twin flames. So somebody already mentioned that they're on the twin flame journey. And so if you're just bopping on, because I'm going to edit this out for the twin flame separate video, or if you just jumped right here, where is that? There we go. We're talking about this, the new moon, the human design new moon in Scorpio, and it's in the 44, the 44th gate. So this is about letting go of a distorted frequency. So this is the shadow. It's called the shadow interference. So you want to watch the beginning of the video or watch the longer video, and you will learn more about what this interference frequency is, and it's distorted. And what happens is it attracts the wrong people to you, this distortion frequency that you're putting out. So this new moon is about starting the process of letting go of this distortion frequency so that your true authentic frequencies can start to go out to the universe and attract to you people on your fractal line. Okay. And so twin flames, they are the fast track. This is the new spirituality, or the twin flames here. So this is fast tracking, right? Because in terms of this, I mean, the twin flame is going to show you that your frequency is off like no other, because there's a mirroring effect. There's a very powerful mirror that the twin flame shows you, and it's mirroring back to you this distorted frequency, which comes from your inner child wounding. So the name of the game here with the twin flame is to realize yourself. To realize yourself. So that means to realize your authenticity. It's to come into union with yourself. So it's about bringing your masculine and your feminine energy together. Remember I talked about this? There's an alchemy that takes place. And the alchemy is when the masculine and feminine energy comes together within you. It's not an external thing. It becomes into union with you. You come together with your emperor and your empress energy, and then they conceive. This is a spiritual conception, and out of this comes the divine child, which is your wounded child becomes healed. That's the divine child, that divine inner child is born, right? And this is the permanent opening of the heart. This is the solar plexus mutation right here, right? So you have the twin flame as a gift. The twin flame is a blessing to show you where you need to work, So you want to be looking at what's coming up for you this new moon. It's like, where am I still in this interference frequency, right? And look back, reflect. This is a great time to reflect on your past relationships. And what were the themes in my past relationships? There was a common theme here. And this is when I want to dig up and let go, right? So that I can be my authentic self. So I've divided, I did this reading quickly before we came on. So remember that there's the chaser and the runner And they're the two expressions of the twin flame, right? The two expressions of the same soul frequency. So I just thought of that too, right? That when this distortion frequency is healed by doing the inner child work, then both twin flames are going to be sending out their frequency, which is going to be similar, right? And I just like sound waves are fascinating to me, the sine waves, that when they're the same, they entrain, right? They entrain. And this would be like a union. Interesting. That's another video. Okay. So let's look at the ego card, what the ego is, keeping you in distortion for the chaser, and then we'll go to the runner. Okay. So the chaser is the one that seems to be the one chasing the other person, the other party, and your twin flame, right? And the runner is the one that seems to be running away and avoiding the relationship. Okay, so that's how they play out. Okay, but as a chaser, and both are runners, right? Because when the chaser's chasing, the runner, they're really running from themselves. So it's the chaser has to stop and go into the self. The runner has to stop and go within themselves too. Right? Okay. So for the ego card that's keeping the distortion going, this is the warning card. Right here, warning. And this is a refusal to change. So the chaser may be going through this, a refusal to change. And remember that Five of Cups. We go back here. This is the new moon. The Five of Cups is the decan that goes with the 44. This wasn't picked intuitively. So the Five of Cups breaks down to Scorpio, which is the death card, and Mars, which is the Tower card, right? So the Tower is transformation. So this would be like a Tower reversed, right? So this is like avoiding change. And this is the ego, right? To avoid change, avoid evolving, avoid healing, right? Staying in that distorted frequency. And this, of course, is avoiding your destiny. And also the divine may be trying to reach you. So the other thing that happens on the twin flame journey is there's so many synchronicities, right? And synchronicities are like messages from the divine. The messages from the divine is like, I see their name. I see my twin flame's name everywhere. I see repeating numbers, or I see mirror numbers like 1414 or 1331. It'll be unique to you. And that's the divine trying to reach you, right? And so the chaser may be avoiding that, not listening, and not trusting their intuition, letting doubt come in, letting the ego come in, right? Whatever it is. And this is going to keep you in a, interference frequency where you're not your authentic self, right? So of course that's the frequencies you're going to send out to the world. And it's also, the warning is, because you see he's ripping up a contract here. It's reneging on a spiritual contract. So the ego trying to like break out of this soul contract that you made with your twin flame before you're incarnated, trying to weasel your way out of it. And that's the ego. Remember that the ego doesn't want anything to do with twin flame, right? Because the ego has to go. There has to be an ego death in a twin flame connection, right? That's what's happening. Whether you want to or not, you've been activated, right? You both have been activated when you met in the 3D. That's when you got activated. And then this started the process of this ego death, right? So this is just brings suffering, right? It brings suffering. And it's teaching you, right? It's teaching you, it's all about an awakening for both parties, right? So it's teaching you to trust your intuition. It's too easy if you just if this were easy, and you read people's experiences, and you could probably chime in if you're on a twin flame journey. If it were easy, the ego death wouldn't come. There's a reason why it's not easy, because it's about you letting go of your not self, right? Your not self. Okay, so let's keep going on here. And so what the chaser's not aware of, that's supporting them, is the King of Wands. All right. So this is saying to not listen to the ego, right? Don't listen to the ego. And then the King of Wands is confident, it's passionate. This is about sitting in your throne, right? King of Wands, sitting in your throne. It's vision, like looking at your vision, looking at the bigger picture to get into this state of mind, not resistance. Don't be using your energy to resist. I'm done with this. I'm not, right? I'm avoiding this. It's like the chaser becomes a bit of the runner. See? And if you're a twin flame, you're going to relate to a little bit of both, not just one or the other, right? You can probably relate to both. So this is optimism, right? This is ruled by the fire signs, right? Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. It's getting into your fire as a chaser. So to be, and this is supporting you right now, right here. Right? I know. I'm sitting in my throne. I'm optimistic. I see the big picture. I'm taking control of my life. I'm not going to feel victimized by this process. And I keep moving on, right? I keep moving on and growing and expanding. And that's what the new moon wants with the 44, right? Is to keep growing, keep evolving, keep learning your lessons. And then at the guidance here is the 4 of Cups reversed, which means that, to have gratitude, right? The 4 of Cups reversed is gratitude. Gratitude. To bring that more into. So this is how you see the world, right? Are you seeing the world half full? The glass is half full or half empty, right? So you want to have gratitude as the chaser. I have gratitude for what I have, for what I have. Oh, isn't that interesting too? Is the 26. I didn't talk about this, but I just want to flip around here. So this is making a channel, right? The channel of surrender, the design of a transmitter. This is the 26, and it's a 0.1. Right? And it's in Venus, 26.1. And this is like the grass is greener somewhere else, right? The grass is greener somewhere else. It's in Venus here. So this is all about gratitude. Don't be thinking that the grass is greener somewhere else, right? There's a better option for me or whatever, you know? It's trying to escape. And this is manipulation. This is pride. Right? This is the shadow of pride, the 26, which pride and interference, right? So the pride here is you don't want to look powerless, right? That's what the shadow of pride has to do here. So that would fit in with the guidance here of to have gratitude, and awareness and acceptance and choosing happiness. Right? Choosing happiness. And it is a choice. The victim doesn't want to hear this. It's a choice to choose happiness in each and every moment. And also what's interesting, the chasers got this last time, the Empress card. And that's Venus. There's Venus again in the 26.1. And the Empress is total self-love, right? Total love of the self. This is your divine feminine. That's the overall energy here. Yeah. So take control of your life, have gratitude, and don't be shirking. Do not be shirking on the contract that you sign before you incarnate it. So it doesn't mean that you stop. Well, my twin flame isn't here with me, so how can I do my soul purpose? It's no, you keep moving forward, but having this just in mind. Right? So you're not fighting and resisting. Like, no, I don't want anything to do with that twin flame. I'm done with them. Right? And pushing, you're feeding that energy. You're feeding the energy of resistance. This is not acceptance. Or the same, you're not on the other side of the pole. And it's like, I can't move on until I'm waiting, right? I'm always waiting. I have to wait till I can move forward with this King of Wands. It's like, no, you're doing neither. It's just in your awareness, I have this contract and I'm going to make lemonade from these lemons that life seems to be giving me, right? That's the 4 of Cups in the reverse. Yeah. But there's a lot of self-love here. So for the chasers, I just feel like there's a little bit of tweaking, right? A little bit of tweaking here. Okay, so who's the runner here? The ego that has to be worked on, that keeps you in interference. For the runner is called Who's Your Daddy? Who's your daddy? And remember, you can only have one daddy, right? You can only have one daddy. One daddy is the divine or the ego, right? Isn't that interesting? That just disappeared on me. I don't know why it's doing that. It must be a setting. Okay, right? So you can only serve one master. The ego or the divine. You can't serve both, right? It's impossible. So the ego here that's keeping you in an interference program, right? So this is out of your power, right? There you are. You're sending out waves here, right? From your wounded self. Your wounded self that the twin flame has activated. Your wounded self. So that you can see these deep, deep wounds that you weren't even aware of were there. The twin flame has activated those for you, right? And there's the ego. The ego doesn't want you coming into your authentic frequency, right? Your true frequency, because there's power. Remember, Scorpio is all about power. All about power. Pluto, power. It's all about power. So the ego is like, choose me and I will take you. I will take you where you need to go. I'll tell you what to do, right? I'll tell you what to do. So this is the big test of the Dark Night of the Soul. This is the Dark Night of the Soul card, right here. Because what happens is you're tested in your faith when you go through a Dark Night of the Soul. And this is when everything is just like falls apart in your life. Everything's not working. There's just one thing after another. Can't I just rest? Which means, can't I just go back asleep? Right? When things were so good before I met that twin flame. That's what the ego says. Things were so good. You didn't feel all these greebly stuff, right? You feel so horrible around your twin flame. Well, all that stuff was there well before you met your twin flame. It's always been there, but you've never been able to access it until you met your twin flame. So there's the ego. It's like, let's go back to sleep. Let's go back to what it was like before you met your twin flame, when everything was comfy, right? Maybe not all comfy, but I didn't have to deal with this, right? And Scorpio is like deep, deep waters, fixed water. Right? It goes to the bottom. Water always goes to the bottom, right? So it's going to bring up stuff to look at for the runners. So this is the big test of faith. That's what the Dark Night of the Soul is. And are you going to choose the ego, your mind, your not self, or are you going to choose the divine? Are you going to choose the divine and put your trust in the divine, put your trust in the unknown? Am I going to transcend my fear? Scorpio is all about transcending fear in this lifetime, right? So that's what's keeping you in an interference frequency right now, right, for the runners. And so this is good. It's a good thing. It's good to get this card. And then what's supporting you is the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups there, right? So we could look at this. So this is partnership, equal partnership. This could represent your twin flame, right? The Two of Cups. Connection. It's your twin flame connection. It's supporting you. Even though you're maybe in separation, you're still energetically connected to one another. So the runner can feel this, right? As soon as one moves forward in their evolution, in their healing, the other one's going to feel it. The other one has to catch up, right? That's how it works. You're permanently connected. No cord cutting, none of that stuff works with the twin flame, right? So you're stuck together in a sense, like Siamese twins, energetic Siamese twins, even though you may not ever see each other, right, on the physical. But the runners can kind of lean into that energy here. But let's bring it to the internal. And this says that there's a unity. There's the masculine and the feminine energy coming together within the runner, right? So this is something that's happening through this dark night of the soul, that they're coming into union. And the runners are more in their masculine energy, right? Which is more typically, doesn't matter if they're male or female, because you can have female, like runners that are in female form and chasers that are in masculine form, right? So it's bringing the masculine and the feminine together, right? So the runner would start to depend more on their intuition. Maybe they're too much in their masculine energy and they're too much in their logic, too much in the Maya and how things move, and trying to be strategic and focused, and it's not working anymore, right? The old ways aren't working anymore. Well, this is about coming more into your feminine and trusting in the divine and listening to your intuition. So there's that that the runner can rely on. Yeah. Okay. And then the guidance is the Five of Swords. The guidance is the Five of Swords. So this is more conflict. But where's the conflict really coming from? It's here. Am I choosing my ego in this moment, or am I choosing the divine in this moment? Am I choosing to trust in the divine and my intuition, or am I following my ego, which is going to pump out fear? It will hemorrhage fear, the ego, because it's built on fear and insecurity. The divine is going to you'll feel love and peace when you start to choose the divine. You'll be overcome by love and peace when you start not listening but acting on it. So this could be letting go of self-sabotaging thoughts. That's the Five of Swords. Letting go of this conflict between the ego and the ego and your intuition. And not letting yourself be bullied by your mind. This is the ultimate bully. Once you deal with all the bullies and the enemies inside you, you're not going to be met with them on the external. So maybe you've got Five of Swords being expressed through other people right now, but it's really coming from within you. And it's forcing you to trust in the divine and come into union with yourself, like your masculine and feminine energy. And then the overall energy for the runner is the Wheel of Fortune. And that means things are moving right there. Things are moving, right? There's a change. There's a cycle for this new moon, a cycle. And the Wheel of Fortune, because it's upright, it's for your benefit, for your spiritual journey. And there's luck. It's unexpected events. It's fortune. Its fortune is waiting for you in change. Yeah, but movement. There's movement here. Because remember that the 44, right? The 44 and the new moon is fear of the past. It's the fear of the past. Okay. So remember to learn your lesson. What have you been learning? What have you been learning? What doesn't work anymore? What's that ego telling you? That's the definition of an insanity. Doing the same things over and over and over again, expecting different results. You want to learn the lesson so that you can move forward for this new moon cycle. Okay, anything else for the twin flame? No, I think that's it. Okay. So remember to check out, if you haven't checked out the Frida and Diego video, that's on my channel, part 1. And part 2 is on my website. Okay. So let's go to... Okay. We're going to go to the human design types now. Okay. And And thank you everybody for liking my video. That really helps get the message out. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go to the human design types. And we're going to start off with the generators. And remember, generators, if you just bopped on here, is I approach human design from the spiritual perspective. Okay, and watch the beginning of the video where I explain that more. Okay. So generators, we're talking about the new moon that's coming up on November 1st in Scorpio. And it's a new moon that's setting the cycle to let go of the shadow of interference. Letting go of the not self, right? That's the interference frequency, is your not self. And when you send out an interference frequency like your radio, then you're going to bring in the wrong people. You're not going to bring in your fractal line. You'll bring in deeply karmic relationships. So we want to move out of that. Because we have to rebuild the earth. Generators are part of that. They're the builders. They're the builders of this new earth. And you need to be with your soul allies. With your soul allies. Okay. So, let's look at what the ego. So pick an ego card and then a tarot card for guidance. You can see the chart. I'll bring the chart back up here. So this is the fear of the past. Right? Being stuck. When you're in a distorted frequency, you keep attracting the same lessons, relationship lessons over and over and over again until you transmute them. And this is your ancestral healing too. Okay. Okay. So what do we have for the generators? What's the ego that's being transmuted for this new moon? Okay. Also keep in mind that Pluto is still in Capricorn until November 19th, so there's big lessons there. You want to look at where Capricorn is in your chart, what house. Okay. And then what's the guidance for the generators? What's the guidance for the generators? What's the guidance for the generators, please? Okay. 4 cards. Interesting that the generators got this one, and that goes with the full moon, or sorry, the new moon. The 44.3 is correlates to the 5 of Cups. There, the 5 of Cups. The moon card, the moon, and then the ego cards are groupthink, and expectations. Okay. So disappointment, generators, disappointment. So you want to look at, in terms of the 44, you want to look at where Scorpio rules. You may or may not have planets in Scorpio. That's okay. But you've got a house. You have a house that Scorpio rules. And that's going to show you where this new. And remember, there's no new, especially with Scorpio, there's no new until the old goes. And that's what this channel is about too. The 4426, the design of the transmitter. There's no transmission of the message, a creative message, until the old goes. The old has to go, right? The 26 rules the T cells, right? So it's destroy. Destroy so the new can come out of this old. There'll be a connection to the old, similar to the butterfly, right? The caterpillar and the butterfly. It's like that. So you want to look at what house, generator, that Scorpio rules. That will give you more hints too, right? So this is a disappointment that you have to let go of. Maybe you're disappointed in a relationship, a person that you trusted. It's ending. It's ending. Lots of relationships are ending right now. You're not alone. To make room for the new and make room for the people that are on your fractal line, that are on your soul tribe, right? And there can be fear because it's the moon, right? So this is illusion. It can be illusion or secrets. This is Scorpio rules secrets. Things that are hidden will come to light. Maybe they have been coming to light now, and you're in this Five of Cups energy right now. Deep fears from the subconscious, right? Deep fears from the subconscious with the moon and the Five of Cups there. And then the ego is to move away from groupthink. So this could be like maybe you're in a committed relationship with someone, right? Maybe you're even married. Maybe you're married. And you're in this, right? It's just not working out. Your relationship isn't working out. Some secrets were revealed, some deal breakers, right? And you're in the Five of Cups energy, and you were in this illusion for so long about this person. Everything's coming to light. And then you want to watch the ego with the groupthink. And the groupthink is like, no, you've got to stay with that person. You got to work it out. You got to go to couples therapy. You have to do this. You have to do that, because you're in this groupthink. You're too influenced by outside authorities, right? So you want to watch that, because that can keep you in distorted frequency, right? Because remember the 44 interference. This is about your soul tribe. There's 144,000 templates. There's 144,000 fractal lines. You belong on one of these fractal lines, right? And maybe your partner belongs on another fractal line that's not yours. And so why does this happen? You can thank your ancestors, right? Your ancestors. You're paying off karma for your ancestors, right? So maybe your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was married to your partner's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother, right? Like it can go that far back, and now you're paying off this karma, right, for your ancestors. It's not just personal karma, because this is part of the purging, right? The purification that we're going through. And then you've got groupthink, and maybe your ancestors like, well, no, we got to stick it out. We have to stick it out. We have to stick it out. We can't choose happiness. We have to stick it out, because we'll be stigmatized, right, by our community, by our family. We have to stick it out. We have to pretend that we're happy and we're not, right? And we have to just suck it up, right, and do it. And now in this lifetime, you may be standing up and saying, no, I'm not doing this. Maybe divorce was a no-no in your ancestral line, right? Maybe divorce was, no, you don't divorce. Maybe you're Catholic, right? No, we don't divorce. We don't divorce. The only way you can escape is if you die. You know those couples? One of the couples actually dies early. That's their soul choosing to go. It's like they think that's the only way out, is to die, to escape that relationship, right? So you could be going through things like that. And this would be that groupthink. And the groupthink is the tribe, right? This is what the tribe is, the tribal law is, right? And it goes way, way back, especially if you have fears and strong beliefs, right? No, I stick with who I married, right? I have these vows, man-made vows that I have to abide with. And it's expectations, right? So this is expectation. That's the 42, right? I'm expected. I'm expected to do this. So you want to dig out. This is why the new moon in Scorpio is great, because Scorpio is going to go right to the bottom, right to like, what's the truth? It's ruled by Pluto. What's the truth here? I'm really unhappy. Maybe that's the truth. I'm really, really unhappy. I can't go on living like this. I can't pretend that I'm happy and fulfilled, right? Like you have to dig up your truth for this new moon so that you can let go of this interference frequency. Maybe all your ancestors have been in this interference frequency forever, and it's been passed down to you through your DNA, right? Yeah. But right now, it's about being your authentic self. You want to know what your frequency is. This is your authentic frequency. Separate from the group. Separate from your ancestors. Separate from your partner. Who are you? Who are you? What's my frequency? And am I aligned with that other person, right? My partner or whatever. Am I aligned with that frequency? You're going to know, but you have to know yourself first. And out of all the types, the generators and the MGs, right? They have to know. They have to know. They have to know themselves. Out of all the types, the generators and the MGs have to know themselves. Ra talked about this, right? So, what else? Something is coming to light. That's what I see with these cards. Something really, really crucial is coming into the light of awareness for you for this new moon cycle. So remember with the new moon generators, they talk about setting your intentions and blah, blah, blah. And that's great to do that in the new moon. I want to let go of this interference frequency. Maybe that's a really good intention. I really want to be my authentic self in this lifetime. Maybe the first ancestor in like 7 generations. I'm the first one to do it. I'm going to do it. Well, remember when you take action during the crescent moon, and that's like 3 days after the new moon, then you take action, right? On whatever your intentions were in the new moon. Okay. But it's going to be around your relationships, right? So this could be not just a romantic relationship. It could be a work relationship, a business relationship. Maybe your clients that you work with, right? So take it however it resonates for you. Okay, anything else? And to trust. When this 44 comes online, when you're truly your own self, you want to trust your instincts, right? This is an imprint for the new moon for all of us. You can trust your instincts, even though your spleen may not be defined. You want to trust your instincts in the now moment with people, right? People show you themselves. As soon as you meet them, they show you themselves. So you don't want to look away. You want to trust your instincts with people so that you start to really attract your soul tribe. Okay, and then also learn the lesson, right? Learn the lesson of these disappointments in the past in your relationships. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, we want to get this back. There we go. Okay, why is it doing that? There we go. Okay, so let's go to the manifesting generators. So manifesting generators, we're talking about the new moon on November 1st, activating the 44th gate. And this is the shadow of interference. And the shadow of interference creates a distorted frequency. So it's like if you're a radio, then you're sending out this frequency that's not self, right? And the not self comes from way back in your childhood. This all started in your childhood, right? So you send this out, and then you're attracting the people that echo this wounding that come back here. And this is what creates conflict and betrayal and all that stuff that we experience in relationships, right? So what you want to do is get your frequency right. And MGs and Gs, they have to really know themselves. They have to know their frequency, because this is the pathway of awareness. We're moving from physical, mental, emotional to frequency, vibrational. This is the solar plexus mutation right here. Okay, but we have to move through that emotional body. And that's when the distorted frequency starts. Right? Because there it is, the pure frequency that you can never, ever destroy or lose. It's always within you, and it's trying to move up, and it hits with this emotional blocks. And this is the distortion. This distortion starts here. Right? Because you want to be in your pure impulse waves here. Right there. You want to be in your frequency. So this is what Scorpio wants for you, MGs, is to destroy, not self, right? So Scorpio destroys, but it recreates. It's like a rebirth, Okay, so let's do some cards for the MGs. And you've got your strategy and authority MGs. And this is going to help you with your frequency. It's going to strengthen it. Okay, what are the manifesting generators? What are they? What's the ego that's creating distortion? What's the ego that's creating distortion for the manifesting generators? This is for the manifesting generator friends. What's the distortion? Okay, what's the guidance for the manifesting generators? Okay. Okay. So, blame. This is the shadow of Scorpio right here. Blame, 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 blame. And then the Queen of Cups. So, in terms of, let's see here. Okay. I just like this a little bit bigger. Bear with me here. Here we go. Okay. So blame. So 44 sends out a distorted frequency because this is the shadow of interference. Okay. This is the gate, like coming to meet. So coming to meet your fractal line. These are your soul allies. What gets created is this interference frequency, and that gets sent out, and in comes karma, karmic relationships, right? And so blaming is not taking responsibility. And it's interesting too on the other side, because this the 26 on the other side, and that's Venus, is activating the moon on the 44. And this is the channel of surrender, and it's the design of the transmitter here. And the 26 is pride. It's the shadow of pride, right? And the fear, because each one has a fear. This is the fear of looking powerless, right? So this is what drives. This is the ego that's driving you to blame, right? So this is not learning the lesson, MGs. I am not learning this lesson, so I am doomed to repeat it over and over and over and over and over again until I get it, right? And this means you stay in this distorted frequency. You don't attract your soul tribe, right? You keep attracting these karmics. So blaming is pointing the finger. This has nothing to do with me. It's them. It's them. Why do I always attract these people? There's something wrong with them, right? Nothing wrong with me. And you can see here, this is from Burning Man. I love this, right? He's put a mirror on his face, right? Because that's what you're seeing. You're just seeing a mirror. That's all you're seeing is a mirror. So if you got somebody in your life, it's because it's Scorpio, right? So vengeance can come up. I need revenge, right? That's the shadow Scorpio. I need to blame. Who's showing me something, right? Who's that person in my life that I am in this energy of blame? It's their fault. I'm angry, right? The ego will bring up like scenarios and conversations you've had and right, and then you start fighting with them in your head. Right, you start having these arguments back and forth. The ego is playing the other, your ego splits off, and one ego is playing their side, and then you got the ego is playing your side, and I should have said this, I should have done that. This is when you want to stop this in its tracks, right? Because this is the ego keeping you focused on the external, and this means you're out of your power, MG. You're out of your power when you're blaming. You want to stop and you want to take responsibility and you want to ask yourself the question, what is that person showing me about myself, right? What is that person showing me about myself? What are they mirroring back to me, right? And that's what you want to work with, because this is all about, Scorpio is all about transmuting fear. Transmuting fear, because there's a fear underneath this, right? Fear underneath this. Because you don't want to see yourself as powerless. Because as soon as you do that, this is what the ego is trying to protect you from. This, the hurt inner child. This is your emotional body, right? This is the ego does not want you going here, and this is where you have to go to heal. You can't do this in your mind. You can't heal it from your mind. You can only heal from the emotional body, right? The emotional body, right? To get to frequency. You have to go through this emotional body. But the ego doesn't want you here. Doesn't want you here. It wants you up in your head, in your mind, blaming. Remember, the mind extends, right? It extends and projects. That's what the mind does. It wants you out here. So you're not getting the reflection back, and you stay in the distorted energy, and you'll keep attracting the same lesson over and over and over, right? So blaming, when you blame, you're really betraying yourself. You believe that you're powerless. When you blame, it's like what you're saying is, I'm powerless. I'm powerless. I didn't create any of this. I'm powerless. I am a victim. Right? That's what you do when you blame, instead of like, why did I attract this person, this situation in my life? You want to learn so that you can get out of this distorted frequency pattern, and you want to learn the lesson, and then you can start attracting in your soul tribe, right? Your soul tribe. So one of the sutras for the Aquarian age is recognize the other person as you. The 5 sutras, there's 5 sutras for the Aquarian age, and that's one of them. Recognize the other person as you. They're a mirror of me. They're mirroring something back to me so I can see it, because I can't see it otherwise. But it means I need to humble that ego. I need to get that ego on a tight leash so I can see. Yeah. Right? Because when you're blaming, you're just blaming the mirror. Imagine you're doing that with the mirror. And you're blaming, pointing at the mirror, and you're smashing the mirror. with your fists. Like, who gets hurt? The mirror doesn't get hurt. Your fists get hurt. You get hurt. And then the guidance here is the Queen of Cups, right? And that's about love and compassion. So instead of blaming, and maybe let's take it further. Maybe you're blaming yourself, because that's really like, let's bring it back to the self. You're really blaming yourself, right? So the reason why we get get angry at people and we can't let go, right? Are we angry at that other person? No, we're angry at ourselves. That's who we're really angry with, is ourselves. Like, why I should have done something. I'm angry at myself. I betrayed myself. So bring it back to the root. And that's where the healing takes place, is the root of the matter. And this is the Queen of Cups, which is all about love, right? It's all about love and compassion and kindness towards yourself. Healing, because you can't forgive. With blame, you can't forgive the other person until you forgive yourself, right? You can't love another person until you love yourself, right? So this is about forgiving yourself and healing. And it's the Queen of Cups, so it may have to do with your mother, right? Could be because we're dealing with the Five of Cups, right? For this new moon is letting go, right, or being disappointed. And it's a queen, that's a mother. It's a mother energy too. So it could have to do with your earthly mother. Take it if it resonates for you. Or this could be about you loving, mothering yourself, right? Bringing that, maybe your mother wasn't great. Maybe she's not getting any awards she's not going to be on a magazine cover for Mother of the Year, right? Right? But it doesn't mean that you can't forgive her. Right? So forgiving your mother and then bringing that mother energy to yourself and mothering and nurturing yourself and supporting yourself, being kind to yourself. And this is what it means to emotionally mature. Yeah. So if you're dealing with this, like if you've got mother stuff and I know I've got to do childhood work, then please come to the online retreat November 8th, 10th and have the experience, a deep experience of this, of really letting go of this not self that comes from childhood, so you can be really free, right? So consider that. Plus human design knowledge comes with it too in terms of your chart. Okay, anything else for the MGs here? So just keep that in mind. It's like whenever my mind and ego blame somebody else, I'm betraying myself. It's a deep betrayal of myself, right? And it's disempowering for me and the other person. So it's just about catching it. That's the awareness is doing all the healing, but it's about catching it while it's happening. It's like, oh, I'm in judgment or I'm blaming right now. I'm betraying myself. What's this really about? And bringing it back to the self. Okay. So that's the MGs. And then let's go to the projectors. In projectors, we're talking about the new moon in Scorpio activating the 44th gate. And this is about letting go of the fear of the past returning, letting go of a distortion frequency. It's the shadow of interference. So that you can really bring in your soul tribe that recognize you, they value you, and they're going to invite you to guide them. So there's a dilemma too, right? If you're not with that, you're not with your fractal line as a projector, you're not going to be recognized. You're not for your, like a true recognition. You're not going to be recognized. You're not going to be invited. Okay, what do we got for the projectors? What's the guidance for the projectors? I think we have to do the ego cards first. So what's the projector? What's the projector? Transmuting. Keeps the projector in an interference frequency. What keeps the projector in an interference frequency? Okay. And what's the guidance for the projector? Clean shell. What do we have for the projector? Steel, my attention is steel, my attention is steel, okay. What do we have for the projector? Just suck, these cars are out of control. Okay, what do we have for the guidance for the projector? What do we have for the guidance for the projector, please? Okay. So the projector's here. The withdrawal card here. And then the Two of Pentacles, 3 popped out, Temperance, and then the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. So the question here of projectors was, what's keeping the projector, my projector friends, in this interference frequency? What's keeping them in the interference frequency? And the ego comes up with withdrawal. So this is an emotional defense pattern, right? So, okay. So let's say you're in the interference frequency. This means you're sending out distorted frequency. This means that you're attracting the wrong people that are not on your fractal line. They're not your soul allies. They're very karmic. And you'll know who these people are. It's like they don't recognize you. They don't value you. Really, they can't see you. You're bitter. Right? Every projector knows that. The bitterness. The bitter pill. And this is actually a projected channel. Right? Can be a different type of channel, right? So this is a projected channel. It's 4426, which means it needs recognition. It needs recognition. Okay, to work. Because then your magic doesn't really happen until you're recognized. So maybe you're going through that, right? Through these last couple of weeks, and you're in this energy of the 5 of Cups, right? Like disappointment. I'm disappointed with people. Right? It seemed like they recognized me, but turns out they didn't. I trusted these people, and they disappointed me. They betrayed me. Right? This is this card. And so I withdraw. So you're listening to your ego that says to withdraw. And withdraw means you isolate. Right? So this is another thing, too. Did I put it up here in the Scorpio? Yeah. Well, isolation is here too. I should have added it. These are the Scorpio gates. So fear of the past, isolation with the 44. Well, I'm just going to isolate. And isolation and solitude, those are two different animals, right? Solitude is when you're with your soul, you're with your own frequency, you're recharging yourself, right? You're recharging yourself. Isolation is when you're with your ego. You're with your ego. It's not recharging you. It's like you're being abused by the ego. And that's the talk of yeah, nobody cares, nobody wants my guidance. What am I doing here? What am I doing on this planet? I'm not doing my purpose, right? I'm just taking up space, just unhappiness. The thing is, the projector cannot feel successful because that's their signature unless they're recognized. They have to be recognized by the other. And how can you be recognized when you're in isolation? Who's going to recognize you, right? Your pet. Maybe your pet will recognize you. But you have to be recognized by a human. So this is tuning out. This is tuning out. And what you do when you isolate, you're isolating from yourself. You're really isolating from yourself. And this is when you want to express. Right? You want to express what's going on inside you. And even though it can feel like there's nothing there, I don't feel like there's anything there, you want to just be patient with yourself and let yourself express. And this is going to get your frequency going, your authentic frequency, because you're going to be honest. Right? So maybe nobody's around for you to express. Well, you start with your journal or even talking out loud. Right? And just be honest with yourself. This is going to move energy right here. But as long as you're isolated, you're going to be in a distorted frequency. You're not being yourself. You're not being honest with yourself. Right? But the ego doesn't want you expressing what's going on inside you. No. Okay. So that's keeping you in a distorted frequency. It's too isolated right now. The new moon is saying that, to move out of this isolation. And it starts with not being isolated from yourself, not alienated from yourself. And so it may be coming from stress because it's the Two of Pentacles, but it's the Temperance, so it means you need to balance. Oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. So 4426. The design, because it's the willpower center activating, right? This channel, the spleen on the other side. This is about work rest. The 2644 is all about work rest ratio. Yeah. And if you're a Leo rising or a Leo moon or a Leo sun, it's going to be Pluto is like full on in your 6th house. So maybe you relate to this, right? Projector, Leo, any Leo placements, projectors. So Pluto in the 6th house until November 18th. It's been there since 2008. And this is all about your work, leisure, right? So this is a motor. This willpower center is a motor, and it's like a heart. It also rules the heart, and the heart beats and rests, right? It's got this ratio already intrinsic to it. It's like that rest, beat, rest, beat, rest. So we have to obey that. We can't let the not self come in. And remember, you as a projector, your sacral is all open. It's undefined. You're not an energy type. Even though this is going to be activated, imprinted on November 1st, right? It's about learning about work-rest ratio. And so of all the types, the projector really has to learn this, right? Especially if you're an energy type, you're energy projector. That means that you maybe got the root or the solar plexus activated here. You actually have the heart, the willpower too, as a projector. Those three, then you're going to have more energy than the regular projector. But still, you've got to get good with this work-rest ratio. So that's what the 2644 is about. It's like, I don't want to be working constantly, right? 40 hours a week, grind on the grind. This is the generator MG grind, right? This is their world that we live in. This 9 to 5 grind, go to school at 8:30 when we were little kids. This is the generator, manifesting generator created world that we live in. It's their grind. It's not our grind. So this is about getting good with your work rest, because it's the Temperance, in the Two of Pentacles, and this is about balance, right? So bringing balance. How can I bring more balance into my life, right? Ask yourself that question. How can I bring more balance into my life? Even in our sentences, right? There's always a pause. There's a period or a comma, right? There's a semicolon. There's always a pause, right? There's always a pause. And we need that in our life, the pause. And it's not going to come through withdrawal, you know? The withdrawal is not going to bring you into that energy of rest, because you're not resting. You're running away from your soul and yourself, your true self, when you're in this energy. It's to be present with yourself and then to rest, right? And then you're not in isolation. You're in solitude, and you're regenerating yourself with things that you enjoy. You know, I did that this week actually, because I'm a projector, and I've got the gate of extremes. I have the 15, which means I got to shake up my routines. It's not good for me. Like the 5, they need the fixed rhythm. They need fixed routines. The 15, the gate of extremes, is I need to shake it up, right? I need to shake it up. That's healthy for me. So I felt that this week. It's like I just couldn't work. Do you know what I mean? It's like I had all these things that I wanted to do, my mind wanted to do, but I just didn't work. So I pulled out some music, because I love music, right? I love music. And started playing around with music just all day. Like all day I did that. And it was like I was on a vacation. I felt like I was on a vacation. And there was no purpose to it. It was just fun to me, right? It was fun. And I swear the day moves so slowly. So slowly, because this has to do with time, right? The 15-5. The day moves so slowly, right? And before that, it would be this Two of Pentacles energy, right? I blinked my eyes and the day was over. Do you know that feeling? It's like I was so busy with work and in the grind and hustling, right? In that mode, and then it's like blink, and then the day's over. The day's over, and then it begins again. Well, this day, when I was just playing around with music, everything moved so slowly. It was like, wow, I can't believe it's only this time. I still have more time to play around and do things, and I seem to be so productive at things that I was enjoying. So that's kind of the energy I feel with the projectors. Maybe as a projector, maybe you relate to that. Let me know. Of going into this like, oh, it's time to rest now, and it's time to just do things that I enjoy to do, just for the joy of it, not for any higher, not like I don't need an outcome out of this. It's just like complete enjoyment. That's what I'm seeing with this energy here. And then the Queen of Pentacles. Maybe the projector's got some other issues too, like the MGs. The MGs have the Queen of Cups. You got the Queen of Pentacles. So this is just about getting grounded. And maybe it does go back to your mother, because we're talking about distorted frequency, right? Maybe this goes back to your mother, that you weren't allowed to have fun, right? Especially if let me know if you're a Leo projector, right? Because we're here to have fun. The Leos, because we're ruled by the sun. We're ruled by the sun. And if the Leos are the ones that are optimistic, right? The only sign ruled by the sun. And who invests in us? The 8th house. The 8th house is who invests in you? Is Pisces. That's the divine. The divine invests in Leos, feeding Leos. So fun and optimism and bright and things like that, right? To bring more of that. So if you're a Leo projector, that's a big message for you guys to like have more fun and rest. Even though the other zodiac signs and types maybe aren't having so much fun, you still have to have fun, right? And spread the joy. Spread the joy. So this is about being grounded, right? Being grounded, enjoying the earth plane, right? Yeah, and trusting. And that's the thing I want to say too to this, to the projectors. Once you get this 44 activated and you're in your correct frequency as a projector type, like you're unique, not just you as a projector, but your unique frequency, then this is going to bring the right people to you, the right invitations, and this brings prosperity. Maybe you're a little bit concerned about prosperity right now with this Queen of Pentacles, right? It's saying to trust, right? To trust. The more grounded, and I can say this as a 15, right? My North Node is in the 15, is the more grounded and slow down you get, slow down, Queen of Pentacles, slow down, this expands your aura, right? And this is the gift of magnetism, the 15. It magnetizes things to you. So that would be my message to you, not to withdraw. This is not the time for projectors to withdraw and like wake me up when this is over. Wake me up when 2027 comes. No. You're being called. Projectors are being called out. That it's time to guide. It's time to guide. And that means to do your inner work and then the orbit. Orbit. And magic happens when you orbit. Magic will happen when you orbit, because it's like, well, the projector's out in their car, they're going somewhere, right? Bring the people, and the people will start coming, right? Looking for you. They're going to be looking for you. Okay, so keep your serenity, your tranquility, your peace, right, with the Temperance card, and stay in balance. That's the big message here, and that's going to get you out of this distorted frequency, which is like the not self projector, bitter, workaholic, right? That's not you. Okay. Okay, so that's the projectors, and then let's go for the manifestors. And we're talking about the new moon manifestors. In the shadow of distortion, interference. Okay. And this draws to you your not self karmic relationships. It's not about your soul tribe. So let's see what the manifestors got here. What do we have for the manifestor? What's the ego that's keeping the manifestor in? What's the ego keeping the manifestor? And interference. That's too many. Too many for the manifestors. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Interesting. The manifestor got the runner card. So maybe your manifestors that's listening here is a twin flame runner. So you got to go to the beginning of my video, the twin flame section, and listen to that. Listen to the runner part with these cards that I went over. I would say that. And maybe you don't identify with that. You don't identify as a twin flame, or you haven't met your twin flame yet, or you just don't believe in it. That's okay. We can work with this. So this is a fear of intimacy. Right? That's the real fear of the runner, is fear of intimacy. So running from relationships. So this is what's keeping you in this distorted frequency, manifestors, is this fear of intimacy. So what the ego says is, oh, yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense for the manifestors. So the ego says freedom, right? So that's a big word for the manifestors. I want my freedom, right? So the ego tells you, and you're listening to it, this is not self, says, you can only be free when you're running. So you're running away, you're avoiding relationships. Maybe you're a single manifestor. Right? I don't want to be needy. That's the runner. The runner doesn't want to see that. That's why the runner and the chaser seems to be the one that's all needy and codependent. But really, it's a mirror to the runner of actually how they feel, but it's expressed differently, right? They don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to look at that vulnerability, right? So this is the ego saying, run away, run away, run away. And this is keeping you in distortion, right? Because you're not learning the lesson. So maybe you are attracting these needy, codependent types to you as a manifestor. Remember, you've got the closed and repelling aura, right? So you want to look at this. Like I said at the beginning, you want to learn the lesson. You want to get out of this distortion so that you can attract your soul tribe. And it's like, okay, I attract and start describing these partners. Well, they're needy. They seem needy. They want my time, right? They want my time. They want my energy. I can never just go do my own thing, right? They want me sharing. They want me informing, right? Right? They're trying to control me. So start just writing that down, and then you want to look at yourself, right? And start to own, okay, where am I needy? Where am I needy? Where am I, where I want their time, why I want their energy? Maybe with another relationship, right? It works that way. Yeah, so to look at it like that and start to own it, because this is you learning the lesson, because you'll keep attracting these people until you get the lesson. You want to learn the lesson. Maybe it's like, because the 44 is all about jumping out of the relationship prematurely and then attracting the same frequency back to you, different name, different body, right? Okay. And then this is the guidance, the 10 of Cups, right? So this running energy keeps you in the 5 of Cups. I'm disappointed again. Why do I keep attracting these relationships to me, right? And maybe it works the other way. They're unavailable, right? They seem to be unavailable. So I'm just going to run away. I don't want to deal with this, like fear of rejection or whatever. So I'm going to run away. I'm going to reject them before they reject me, right? So the guidance here is 10 of Cups, to move out of the 5 of Cups and go into your 10 of Cups, right? So the 5 of Cups, like you see that he's looking down, he's completely disappointed by these 3 of Cups. But he doesn't realize that there's 2 of Cups behind him, because he's like so fixated. This is victim thinking, right? I'm so fixated on loss and what doesn't work with this 44 that I don't see these 2 Cups behind me, right? That there's actually something good here. If I just turned my head, maybe if I take responsibility for what I've been attracting with this distorted frequency, I haven't been myself, then I can look behind me and say, oh, there's something here, these 2 of Cups. And then you move to the 10 of Cups, right? So to get to the 10 of Cups is 5. Yeah, it's to let go. It's to let go. Move into the 10. And the 10 is happiness, fulfillment, security, emotional stability, domestic harmony. So this is being okay with yourself, right? Because really the running is you're running from yourself and your own needs. You're running from your own needs. And the needs come from here, right? The distorted frequency goes right back to your childhood. Because we're evolving right? We're going from the physical, mental, emotional into the frequency, right? So the frequency can't be manifested. So the distortion starts here, because there's your pure frequency that you can't escape, that's always there. And then it hits these stuck emotions, and out comes of this vibration, this distortion frequency, right, comes out. So the 10 of Cups is to choose happiness, Choose happiness. And as soon as you start to choose happiness, then this wounding will start to come up, because this is what's not happiness. Do you see that? When I choose happiness, this is universal law. When I choose the frequency of happiness and joy, that's my natural state, and peace, because you're a manifestor. Well, everything that's not happiness, that's not joy, that's not peace will start to come up and surface. And that's this distortion, right? And you just feel it. You just feel it, you allow it, you feel it. But you keep choosing this, and you don't run away, you don't avoid. This is avoiding the inner work that you have to do, right? You keep choosing the 10 of Cups, ultimate happiness, right? Harmony, peace I would put in there too. Grateful for the love in your life. Yeah. And this will move you out of distortion. And then you start attracting these people to you that are on your fractal line, that are part of your soul tribe. Okay. Anything else for the manifestors? No, that's it. Okay. So let's go to the reflectors. And I also throw in the other types. So if the other types didn't resonate with their message, then come to the reflectors, because this is the wrap-up. So the reflectors are very attuned to the moon. And the new moon, this November 1st, is the shadow of interference. This is the fear of the past. The fear of my past mistakes catching up with me. And we're seeing that out in the collective with the sex scandals, because this is Scorpio. We're going to see that all month long and into November too. November 21st, 22nd is Sagittarius. Okay, so there's the 44, and it's activating the 26. So let's look at this. And we'll see what ego is keeping the reflectors and all the other types in distortion. And what's the guidance? What's the guidance for reflectors to move out of this distortion? What's the guidance? What's the guidance? What's the guidance? Okay. What do we have for the reflectors? What do we have for the reflectors? And please let me know if you're a reflector. You're so rare. Okay. Remember, groups, your fractal line is really important to you as a reflector. Okay. The manifestor's got the 10 of Cups, and you got the 10 of Pentacles. And then you got the ego card that's keeping you in distortion is the shut it down card. Shut it down. And shut it down means to shut down your heart. Right? The ego says, shut that thing down. Shut it down now. I don't want anything to do with this heart. When you really allow your heart to open, it will subsume that ego. Okay. So the ego is like, don't go into your heart, just go cold, stay in judgment, right? And this may have been a strategy for you as a reflector, right? Is to close the heart, just keep the heart down. And this keeps you in distortion. Of course, it's going to keep you in distortion, and it's going to keep you out of your intuition too. out of your power, right? So close down the heart. This is, of course, is going to be distorted. Your frequency. Okay, so completely closed down. That keeps you in interference. And of course, what are you going to, if you're closed down, who are you going to attract? You're sending the frequency out from a closed heart that's coming from like to protect yourself, protect being hurt again, right? Well, what are you going to attract? You're going to bring people in that are going to trigger this hurt, right? They'll trigger that hurt so that you can start to feel it, so that you can feel it and heal it. Yeah, and are they your soul? Are they your soul allies? Maybe, maybe not. But if you're repeating the same lessons over and over and over again, then no, they're not going to be your soul allies. You keep repeating the same cycle over and over and over again with your relationships, but you're not growing and you're not evolving and you're not learning, then they're not your soul allies, right? They're not your soul allies. So for this new moon, you want to, in order to get out of the distorted frequency, ideally you'd want to come to my online retreat, because that's what the work that we do. We go to the frequency level through meditation, Kundalini Yoga meditation, and other exercises, and then knowledge of your chart, like where all this started. But until then, to learn the lesson, you want to reflect on your relationships. What has been the major lessons that I've been learning and through my relationships in the past, let's go 16 years, just because Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, the modern ruler. Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008, right? Maybe go there. What lessons have I been learning in the last 16 years? What are the major themes? What have the major themes be? And it's the 10 of Pentacles, so right away it's telling me that it's about your family, right? It goes back to your family. It goes back to your ancestors. So remember with the 44, this is about your fractal line. It's about your fractal line. And this is your soul tribe. And there's 144,000 templates. So there's 144,000 fractal lines. And so how it works, I mentioned this, I forget which type I mentioned this with, but you can be clearing out your ancestors, your ancestral karma, right? And what happens with ancestral karma, it's not that they're on the same fractal line. People from another fractal line that's different than yours, right? Your ancestors are on a different fractal line from one another. And then this gets passed down to you, and you're on another fractal line that's the same as your ancestors, right? And then you're with another person that was, do you see what I mean? I'm losing my brain power here. But anyway, you end up paying off all this karma, this ancestral karma, but it has nothing to do with your soul purpose, right? You as a unique individual. Remember, we're moving into the cross of the sleeping phoenix. It's the age of the individual. It's doing your unique soul purpose. No, you didn't get to do that. So the 10 of Pentacles is saying that it's time for you to move away from this ancestral karma and learn the lesson. And just do it. Don't go into resentment, Scorpio. I've got to do all this clearing for my ancestors. This isn't fair. This isn't fair. It's just do it. Just do it. You've been chosen as the reflector or the other type to clear this up for your ancestors. And then you can start to attract your soul tribe, right? And reflectors, like I said, it's really important for you to be in the right group, right? The right group of people. You are born to be in a group, the right group. So we could read this in a different way too. The 10 of Pentacles is you're in the right group and you're working towards a legacy, right? Yeah. But it's to transmute this energy, this distorted frequency first. Okay. So that's what I have, everybody. And hopefully you enjoyed that. And keep in mind the online retreat. I'm going to do a little video for that so people can understand how important this work is, especially since Pluto is moving out of Capricorn. Capricorn is like the hierarchy. That's our family too. Capricorn can be our family, our legacy, our ancestors, because Saturn is very karmic too. So this is an important time to do this work, and our inner child is the portal into our past lives and our ancestral wounds and all that stuff. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's coming up November 8th to the 10th. It's a deep, deep experience, and then we have the integration meditation then the next week. Very, very impactful. Okay, so I will see you in the next video, and have a great weekend, and do not resist anything that's coming up during the Scorpio season, because Scorpio is all about revealing what is hidden and bringing up those shadows, and own them, take accountability for them, don't project them onto other people, and just do this work. I can't underestimate the power of shadow work and inner child work. Okay? Okay, everybody, I will see you soon. Okay, Sat Nam Aloha. Bye-bye.